Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Hello and welcome to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Weiskup, joined by my co-host whose mic skills are so hot, even her sound bites have grill marks. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And our other co-host, her flow is as buttery as a pancake breakfast. It's Hilary Walter-Matt.
Hey, Tyler.
Hi, Hilary. Today, we're diving into the sizzling world of griddles. If you've ever seen like a griddle video online and thought, looks awesome, but where do I start? This is the episode for you because we've got NFM'er and local griddle enthusiast Cordero Monaghan on the podcast with us. Hi, Cordero.
Hey, Tyler. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited for you to be here to talk about. You've actually, what's really interesting is when we were kind of talking to you before about like what this episode is going to look like, you have some actual recipes that you want to talk through that helped you kind of build out your griddle kit, so that you described it, which I thought was a really compelling way about like, I just want to have more fun out there. Like, I just want to enjoy grilling and griddling and having a lot of fun with that experience, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the crux of cooking for me. It's just, you got to have fun with it. I think that when you don't have fun with it, I don't think the food tastes as good. Maybe it's all in my head a little bit, but
I think you're right.
I think that's a true statement.
Yeah.
It's just, if you have more fun, it tends to be a better time.
Absolutely. So we've got some go-to recipes that you've kind of experimented with over the course of a few years. I'm excited to talk to you about that. Before we do, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast, and that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. In addition to the best prices, selection, and store experience in the world, we're here to help you live your life better. That's why we do this show, and we want to help you make your home life your best life at the end of the day. You can learn more at nfm.com. Okay, so this week, I'm going to introduce this segment where it's kind of a new way for us to frame this. I'm going to call it Game Changer, because this is where we're going to kind of spotlight some products or life hacks or whatever it is that help you kind of do life, the things that you enjoy doing at home, better. Because sometimes the right product isn't extra, it's essential. Right?
It's true.
So today's Game Changer, we talked about it already, is the outdoor griddle. And specifically, we'll talk a little bit about some of the accessories and things that have helped you do it better, Cordero. And we've got these 3 recipes that we want to talk through. Hibachi, chopped cheese, and smash burgers.
Ooh.
So if you're already salivating,
Yeah,
I
all
know.
of these sound very
We're recording.
I don't blame you.
We're near
Cordero sent over
lunchtime.
some images and things ahead of time that we had a chance to look at, and it's dangerous. But Cordero, let's start at the beginning. What got you interested in griddle cooking in the first place?
Yeah, so essentially I'd gotten rid of my gas grill. It was old and it was time to get rid of it. I had replaced it with a charcoal grill, but I kind of missed the simplicity of a gas grill.
Turning it on.
Yeah, because you just have to turn it on. You don't have to spend all the time, letting the coals get going. And I was like, I think this is the time for me to finally get the griddle, the flat top that I really have always wanted. And so I came to NFM and said, all right, I'm going to get my Weber flat top, and that's what I did.
But was it a certain meal? Because I think, or like a video or something, like you gravitated toward this griddle, and I know that you're like a big Weber enthusiast, which we can get into. But like, where did it like start bubbling up? Because obviously you had that charcoal experience from your past one, and you're like, oh, this is taking a little bit longer. Is that just the ease of use? Was that the reason why?
It was definitely the ease of use and trying recipes that, while I can cook them inside, cooking them outside on a flat top would be far easier, and it's really far better, to be honest. It's better. It's a better cooking experience. Anything from fajitas, breakfast, and we talked about here, we're going to talk a little more about the hibachi, the chopped cheese, and the smash burgers. It's just, you can cook those inside, but it's a more fun and a better experience to do it on the flat top. And it's easier to, like, the cleanup's far easier.
Cleanup, definitely.
Far easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smell. Like, you appreciate it in the moment, but like after
the
you
next
eat it,
morning,
you're like,
I'm
good not smelling this anymore.
Totally.
Yeah. And, that you bring up the smell, and that's such a good point because I live in an older house, and so I actually don't have ventilation in my kitchen, and so that really restricts a lot of things that I can cook inside without making my whole house smell like Freddy's. If I want to make smash burgers, right? And so cooking it on the flat top outside just seemed like the best way to go.
It's almost necessary for you.
For sure.
So these recipes that you picked out, they're kind of a little bit of your progression of like how you went through and got better and hadn't figured out how to have more fun out there griddling. But take me back to the first recipe that you cooked on the griddle.
The first one was, I kept it simple. It's just fajitas. I wanted to get that nice, good charring. And it was nice to be able to cook the peppers and the onions all at one time while getting the chicken and the shrimp ready to go. And it's just, the meals come together a lot quicker too, having that large cook space.
Yeah, I could see that.
Surface area
and
matters.
I feel like it's like
Huge.
not having like a million different like pots and pans or whatever. Like it's just
That is exactly it.
Yeah. As someone who's like overfilled a pan on the stove and there's like zero caramelization happening where it's like almost boiling and steaming. It's just like, that's not what makes fajitas so delicious when they've steamed in a.
Yeah. You got to kind of get that little bit of a char effect because that's how it is when you go to the restaurant.
Yeah.
And that's, so when you're cooking at home, you want it to kind of taste as close to like your favorite restaurants you go to. And so I think that the griddle really helps with that effect.
Yeah. Was it like life-changing immediately or did you? Okay.
Life-changing immediately.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine not having one like at this point. It's too easy. Like I said, like you can make meals that taste just like, or like you said, from your favorite restaurant. And that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So,
like how many days a week are you using this?
So I would probably say anywhere from 1 to 3 days a week.
Okay. You're getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's, even in the winter when it's like super cold, it's still a breeze because it's just one giant cast iron plate. So versus like a charcoal grill where you can use a charcoal grill in the winter, but it's going to be subjected more to the temperature. So to control that with the flat top, it determines the temperature. It's just too easy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Great point.
Excellent. Okay, let's dive into recipes. So hibachi. You said this was the second meal that you made on the griddle.
Yep.
Why?
So there's a restaurant in town, and we've if folks are here from here in Omaha familiar, Genji, and my wife and I, we really love hibachi and stuff, and we've made it inside before, but Becca, you mentioned like having all the pots and pans and stuff. Like that's true. Like that's actual.
Now I have 1,000 cleanup dishes
and not enough burners.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. And so being able to just do something as simple as just going to the local grocery store, getting some rice made yesterday, because that's what the fried rice that they use at those hibachi places, and then just getting the meats that I want to cook. I'll sometimes go crazy and I'll do the shrimp, the chicken, and the steak because why not?
Yeah.
And
excellent use of free will.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And then another reason why we went with hibachi is we do a CSA with one of the local farms, Weddinghoff. So we go there. It's actually starting this weekend.
I love that.
Yes.
It's such a nice benefit.
Get all the fresh farm vegetables grown 5 minutes from where I live.
Exponentially better.
Yeah. So I get all like the peppers, my zucchini, and all that stuff. And so we get so much zucchini. It's like, well, what am I going to use for this? Hibachi's a simple solution.
Yeah. That's like the perfect use of a lot of zucchini.
Exactly.
But there's like a lot of moving parts with hibachi, and like I know the griddle like it takes a lot of the work out of that. But I'm curious, like, how did you like maybe prep or plan for your first cook doing the hibachi? Was that something where you're just like, I've seen it, I know, I went to Genji,
winging it,
I know what they're doing, or was there like a lot of like thought process that went into like putting your recipe together?
Sure. So I'd been to Genji multiple times, so conceptually I kind of understood how to cook it, but I wanted to not just go off my gut instinct when I first made it. And so I went on YouTube. I can't remember the channel name, but the channel is a guy, he's an actual hibachi chef, and so he makes these videos in his spare time. And I thought his channel was it was concise, simple, and it confirmed my gut reaction how the meal should be cooked. And so I just kind of followed that, and it turned out great.
Did you get like a nice onion volcano going?
I was going to say, how many tricks did you pull off?
No, so he does have those he does have those videos where he teaches you how to do that stuff, but I haven't done an onion volcano. I haven't, done the dance, the flipping of the eggs and stuff like that. I'm afraid I'm going to ruin it. Maybe someday if I get
Something
a
to
little more.
work up.
Yeah,
You're not
that's
making
exactly
your
it.
family catch shrimp.
Stand
No
over
kidding.
here.
It would just end up on the floor.
Yeah. More for you to clean up. Yeah.
But that's kind of how I started it, and that's kind of where I went with
We'll
it.
walk through. So the YouTube video that you're watching kind of showed some of the step-by-step process to kind of do it the right way. Walk us through what those steps are.
Yeah. So first, you get it to the temperature that you need it cooked at. Usually a little bit more than medium on the flat top. The heat dial.
And we've got some images
Ooh.
here.
Oh,
Of
yeah,
you
yeah,
taking
there
some
we
of
are.
this stuff.
You get a good pat of butter on there because you got to have that
Yeah.
so you don't burn everything.
Mm.
Always carry gold though. Got to do it with the real Irish butter, of course. And then you get your rice and you get that dumped on one side, get that going. You get the egg in there and you flip it about. And then on the other side, I'm conceptually speaking, I've got three burners on my flat top.
Okay.
I use the far left one as a warmer holder, and then I use the two on the right to cook.
Okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
smart.
And so that's how I do like the vegetables on one and then the meats on the other.
Yeah.
And so once the rice is kind of done, I put it to the side to the warmer, and then I work on the vegetables and the protein. So we start with like the zucchini, the onion, and because the onion's going to take a little bit longer.
Mhm.
And then once that's kind of out of the way, I usually do that. The vegetables in the middle, push that to the side. And then on the far right is the proteins, and those cook really fast. Shrimp takes, it really feels like seconds to be honest, because you don't want to overcook it.
Rubber shrimp.
Yep, exactly. It'll turn into rubber. And then the chicken, because like the chicken's already pre-cut, it cooks really quick too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not as fast as the shrimp, but it's
Right.
real quick. And then the steak, it's just waiting until it's just quick black, because you want to have that nice medium rare texture, so it's got that nice tender bite. It all comes together really quick. The prep, I would say, is probably takes longer than the actual cooking
Sure.
process.
Yeah.
The slicing
Slicing all the vegetables
produce
up and
the
yeah.
meats.
Yeah.
And if you do any of the marinating of the meats, which I tend to do, because why not? If you're going to this far, take an
Yeah.
extra step and
Yeah.
throw it in there with some oil and some seasonings and so forth, some soy sauce. And that's kind of how the meal comes together. Once it's done, and just serve it.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the hardest part of this meal was, as I've done it multiple times, it took me a couple tries, was finding the right yum yum-sauce.
Yeah.
Because a lot, like if you go to your grocery store, you just pick a bottle off the shelf. It's honestly not
No.
good. It's
not good.
And what's
Always
that,
that sauce.
consistency?
Mhm. And I've tried making it myself too,
Mhm.
because why not, right? To have a stab at it. And it did not turn out very good.
Oh, no.
So I went to the Asian market, which it's right not too far from here actually, and I looked at some of the products there, and I was like, "Oh, let's try this one." So we found a nice spicy one, and that's the one I go with now.
Nice.
Not as good as going to the hibachi place, Genji's, but it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So it's really about like understanding the timing, the things that take longest to cook. That's what you start with. Save that like quick cook that just needs a sear. That's the last thing
Yes.
you do.
Yeah. And I would also add, if you have like a little help, or so in my case, my wife kind of helps, like because things happen so fast.
Yeah.
Once the meal hits the griddle, it goes quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. So
Just
fun.
Good
Different
advice.
tips.
Good advice. So one of the things that we were talking about before we even jumped on the mic was the idea of accessories. Is there something within cooking hibachi from an accessory perspective that makes it like a lot easier for you to cook it right?
I would definitely say the long spatulas are a necessity. The same way as when you say when you're there. There's a reason why, because you're doing so much, quick pick up and drop, pick it up and drop, because you're not trying to let it stay on the pot or the cast iron too long. You're just trying to get the cooking done, but not like too much. It's kind of like cooking on a wok. You cook, toss it
Gotta
really
keep moving.
fast. Yep.
And that sound is essential. That like clanging.
Oh yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. The griddle.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, I'd like to jump into the second recipe that you had, the chopped cheese. Talk through it, because it's not quite a burger, it's not quite a Philly, but
it's like a burger Philly.
Yeah.
100% delicious. Was this like a turning point recipe for you, where things started to click and you got even better at griddling? Like, talk to me about the progression of going from
So
the recipes that the starter like fajitas and hibachi to something that's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, I would say with chopped cheese, I was at a restaurant here in town, Oliver's, and a friend had recommended, hey, you should try the chopped cheese, and I had never even heard of one. I didn't know what it was.
Like chopped cheese,
and I was like, this kind of just looks like a broken up hamburger on a hogie,
slop
which
bread.
and I was like, I was like, I like these foods, but together it seems kind of odd. I ordered it, loved it, it's really good. And I thought, well, I'm going to make this at home because this shouldn't be that difficult.
Right.
And it really is just like ground beef, and you make it kind of like a patty, and then you chop it up a bit, and then you throw your mushrooms, your onions, any kind of cheese. I usually go with like a nice low temp melt, like a Havarti, or a Munster as well, because those just melt real quick and nice and sticky on the meat. And then I have the hoagies from Rotella, of course. It's Omaha, got to represent.
Yep.
And toast those buns lightly on the griddle. And
game changer.
This is a meal that comes together really quick, probably like 10 minutes or less. And I think that's kind of the theme of why I like using the griddle is how quick it all comes together.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like the prep, almost every time I cook something on the griddle, the prep takes longer than the actual meal, which is great.
Ideal.
Actually.
Yeah. Mise en place. You get everything chopped, portioned out, and then it makes like the cook so much simpler. It's a French term, I think, like things in place or something. But
yes, so fancy.
Game changer.
Hilary, that's
I know.
great.
I love to cook too.
Okay. No, that's actually I have heard that.
Yeah,
that's right. Because you gave Derek a turkey recipe.
I did. I did
hear about that.
Hilary is so NFM famous.
That's hilarious.
So the balance, I think, is everything for this, right? It's the meat, the melty cheese, that crispy roll. Was there anything that, like, when you first started making this dish that you messed up, that you determined that you could do better? You just
not trying to toot my own horn, but I did nail it right out the gate.
Nice.
I will say, earlier you asked me about some like accessories and stuff, so I'm a big Weber fanboy for a lot of reasons that we don't have to get into details. We don't want to, but Weber's got a lot of really good accessories to go with their flat tops, because of the nature of the Weber. So you got a kind of like a counter, so to speak, on the left, a little bit counter on the right, and then there's actually another counter that loops up and locks in, so you actually kind of get three cooking spaces.
Nice.
And the counters on the left and the right have metal inserts that actually come out, and so it creates like an empty space. But one of the accessories, what it is there's like little clips that sits inside it, and then you can put a trash bag in there. Because when you're cooking so many various things, and if you're we were talking about hibachi before, what am I going to do with the eggshells?
Right,
doing all this,
right.
Just having that trash can right there, and it sounds really basic, but like just a small thing like that. Another item that is really helpful are some little clips, which allows me to hang additional utensils on there. So if I need a specific utensil, or I used one, I'm like, I don't want to touch this utensil on that item, then I can hang those to the side without sacrificing my counter space, because the counter space is really what's really important with the cooking, because it all happens so quick that you're putting stuff on the counter onto it. Exactly.
Right away.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, well, like Weber is a heritage brand for a reason too. Like that's made by people who cook and grill.
And know what they
Yeah, I mean, they've been like a mainstay in the grilling like community since the 50s when they started it with their famous kettle, their charcoal kettle, and since they've obviously expanded into their gas and then flat tops and so forth.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
They definitely
making it easy on us home cooks.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, like, what did this recipe teach you? Like, you mentioned the counter space. You've talked a little bit about timing and managing of the surface spaces, the value of good spatulas and things like that. Was it like, did cooking chopped cheese push you to invest in some of these new accessories, or were these things that you had as a part of your kit already?
My wife and I did some good research on it beforehand, knowing we were like, okay, we're going to buy this flat top. What are some of the first few meals we want to cook, and what utensils do we need to do that, so we can kind of jump out the gate and do it correctly the first time? And so that's kind of how we did the research on that. And then to your question on like, what did the chopped cheese, when I cooked the chopped cheese, what what did I learn from it, or what did I gain from it? I just realized that it's so easy to make hot sandwiches on it. And I love hot sandwiches. That's just one of my favorite items, Phillies, all that kind of stuff. So,
and like toasted, like griddled bread
yes,
it's
a different
sandwich.
It elevates it to
totally.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a trick to not burning it?
Just temperature control. And I would say to that point, a must have for a flat top. I mean, if there's things you cannot skip out on other than like the bottles of water and oil, you have to have an infrared temperature gun. So you can kind of identify the temperatures real quick, because it gets hotter than you think. And so like I've never used high on mine. Medium is the highest I go, and medium it still puts the flat top at almost 500 degrees.
Wow.
So I actually go a little less than medium on it. And that temperature gun allows me to kind of identify what also the kind of the warmer spots are in it. So just throwing that, you gotta have one.
I saw someone TikTok, how I always bring up all things I learned on TikTok, but they had taken, I think at the beginning of grill season, they had just taken like plain white bread, turned it on, laid all the, like essentially covered the cooktop with bread, set a timer, and then checked like the doneness. So you could see where the hot spots were. And I was like, oh, that is
really smart.
So clever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You can kind of identify what grill level to how toasted you want that bread, right? So that's kind of fun. That's a good concept.
Do you use like the grill like weights at all? Have you seen those where it's like, I don't know, it just looks like a metal piece that puts like just enough pressure down on like bread or whatever to get maximum.
I have my smash burger presser that I could use for that.
Okay.
Which is the next recipe.
Yeah.
What a
Well,
perfect
good segue.
lead-in.
You're welcome, Tyler.
Talk to us about your recipe.
Yeah, so get your ground beef, get them into the nice little small balls. I usually do right around a quarter pound or even just slightly less, because you really don't need that much beef, and you don't actually even want that much beef either. For when you do start cooking it and you get the press down, you got to get your wax paper on it so that way it doesn't stick to the presser. But the reason why you want the smaller ball of meat is when you smash it down, you can kind of get the edges kind of like, they call it's like lacy. Exactly. And that's that texture that you really like when you get a smash burger, like I said earlier, when you go to like Freddy's and you get a smash burger, that's the best part of it, really. And so recreating that is like, that's the best part about it. And then I usually just kind of have my onions to the side and stuff, and because I don't cook the onions for my smash burgers, I just the cheese, just the cheese and the beef, and that's it. Put a little of the seasoning of choice. I keep it basic, salt and pepper. If I'm feeling crazy, I'll add a little Misty seasoning, which is kind of like a barbecue. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. And that's pretty much it. And I know we've talked about the speed of cooking, but smash burgers really cook super fast.
Really?
I mean, it's
how fast were we talking?
Less than a minute.
Oh, wow. That's really fast.
That's really fast. I mean, once it's on there and you smash it down, I wait maybe 30, 45 seconds. And once it looks like it's almost done, then you flip it one more time, add just a tiny bit of seasoning again on the top. And then you let it cook another 20, 30 seconds, if that, and then it's done. I mean, I put the cheese on there, it melts on there real quick, and then it's ready to take off, and throw it on some buns and have it with some onion and maybe some mayo or something, and you're ready to rock and roll.
Do you do classic American cheese, or do you go a little fancier with it? Yeah,
both. Sometimes I really do crave, the classic craft American cheese.
Kraft singles,
whatever that
back in the day.
Yellow plastic.
Yeah,
it
hits the spot when you're really craving just a classic all American cheeseburger. But there are definitely times where I'm like, no, I want Gouda right now.
Gouda.
Give me that 10-month Gouda. That's what I want. Swiss. If I'm doing some mushrooms, I love mushrooms.
Good options. Okay, so what is something, they look easy, smash burgers, I feel like, but what's something that like a beginner mistake might make?
I would say it kind of goes back to the prep and the utensils. So with the smash burger, you really want, you don't want to use the long skinny spatulas like you would for hibachi. You want like the big flat square spatulas, and especially if they're ones with like a tapered edge, so you can really get underneath the patty without destroying that and ruining that lace, which is what you're kind of going for to cook it. Is you get it under real nice, like, and then you can flip it real well. So
there's a reason that like there's a specific spatula tool for specific kinds of because I have like one spatula shape that I use at my house
sure
for everything, and it like and I struggle sometimes, so that makes a lot more sense now that I'm thinking about it.
When I'm cooking eggs on there, I use my burger spatula because that tapered edge is so narrow. It's actually like almost sharp. It's almost like a knife edge, really. And that's what allows you to kind of get underneath there and flip it without ruining it and cutting into it.
Okay, so these 3 recipes, the hibachi, the chopped cheese, smash burgers, each taught you something differently, but they helped you kind of figure out how to have more fun while you're cooking. So I'm curious about that. What keeps you inspired to keep experimenting on the griddle and having more fun out there?
Yeah, I would say when I start my kind of cooking journey, it really depends on 2 things. I'm either scrolling on the internet and I see something, I'm like, that looks good, I bet I could make that. And then I start researching and seeing, okay, what ingredients do I need? Are there any additional utensils I might need, etc. Or if I'm at a restaurant and I eat something, I'm like, gosh, that was so good. I bet I could make that at home. And the best part of that, the latter, is that now that I know what it tastes like, I know what tastes like, what flavor profile I'm going for. And so then the journey kind of starts there, where again, I'm picking out the ingredients, the potential utensils I might need. But that's what really keeps my passion for cooking in general. It's just when I see something or try something, I think, I got to make that.
I need that in my life more than I do currently.
Exactly. I think of like, gosh, I mean, even like thinking about like 6 years ago, I was in St. Louis for a hockey game, and I was staying at this hotel, and I was like, oh, the pork nachos look pretty good. I'll order those. Pretty basic. Wasn't expecting anything special, but they had this particular pepper on there that really isn't commonly sold like in our grocery stores and stuff. I can't remember the name of the pepper right now, but I could find it because I wrote it down. I wrote it down.
It's in my notes.
When I eventually either decide I'm going to buy the seeds, I'm going to grow that darn pepper myself with my Aero garden, or if I see it, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to recreate those pork nachos because smoking pork, that's no problem, and everything else. But that's kind of just an example of how my mind works when it comes to remembering recipes, or what inspires me. I think of like, gosh, those were so good. I need to make that again or eat it again. I just need that experience. It's like watching rewatching a movie you really enjoy.
That's a great analogy.
I think is the best way I would describe it.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So before we wrap up with a game here, if something's thinking about cooking on the griddle, but they're intimidated, like what advice do you give them?
I would say using your resources online to kind of build that confidence. YouTube's a big one. Find a channel that you think that kind of meshes well with how your approach is, because there's multiple kinds of channels and they're all good in their own respective rights. But like sometimes for me, when I'm finding someone, I kind of need them to kind of speak my language and their approach, because there's so many ways you can approach the cooking process. And so when you find that person that speaks your language, then that's kind of one of my resources I use. I would also say if it's kind of like, if you just kind of have like maybe generic or an even maybe more specific questions, just to kind of confirm your gut. I was like, I think this is how this should be. I just Google it and I just type in Reddit and I just find the Reddit link with it. And I kind of go through it and I think, yep, that looks right. Okay. And then I just run with it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing you've kind of like said or reinforced is like, nobody's like born with that knowledge. Nobody starts out as an expert. Like you're learning something every time you do it.
Definitely.
So like be okay with some mistakes too. Like,
because it's just all about having fun really. And like when we started this, the more fun you have, I think the more you're going to enjoy your meal.
1000%.
Great way to say it. Okay. It's time for a game. We call it the Pop Culture Challenge. This is the game where we take our topic of the day and put it to the pop culture ringer. So this week we're playing Griddle the Lyrics. This is how it's going to work. I've taken some well-known song lyrics and rewritten them with a little backyard barbecue flair. Your job is to guess the original song or artist behind these grilled lines.
I think you need to.
I agree.
We'll see if I need to sing it so that you can get the feel,
Mhm.
we'll get to that level. But I want to give it a dry read first and see if you guys can guess, and then we'll probably have to belt out a few tunes.
Yeah, you nailed that Applebee's song earlier.
Yep.
Fancy like.
Okay.
Okay.
Like Applebee's.
So we'll start with the first one. See if I made these too hard or too easy. We'll determine. Okay. Just gonna give it a flat read. Okay.
No, that works.
Hello, you. Pale French toast side. I must have failed to caramelize.
Nope.
Oh, I know this one.
You know it?
It's Adele. Hello from the other side. I don't.
Oh,
Yeah, no, you got it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay,
Hilary.
okay.
Very nice. I could
Impressive.
yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, no kidding. I can't do.
I
I'm
mean,
not
once
good at
you
this
said it,
stuff.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but like, nope, not.
Was that hello? Ew?
Yeah, I did.
I don't know if it's you with an accent or
It was ew.
like
Hello, ew.
Like
Pale
Jake-
French
like
toast
Jake-
side.
Yeah, I was thinking like the baby. Yeah, like a sheep. That's what I was thinking.
Hello,
I
ew.
was
Pale
thinking
French
the guy
toast
from Schitt's
side. I must have
You know,
failed
it
to
feels like ew.
caramelize. Okay, you nailed that first one. Let's do the second one.
Okay.
I'll give it a dry read. Oh, get totally crispy. You better deglaze me. Man, love me a smash bun.
what?
What is it?
Nope.
Are you you don't
Got
know what it is?
One more time.
Okay, I'm going to sing it this time.
Okay,
Give
sing
you
it.
a little
Yes.
clue. Oh, get totally crispy. You better deglaze me.
Oh,
man, love me a smash bun.
Yeah, Shania Twain.
Very
Yes, I
nice.
just butchered "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" by Shania Twain.
Yeah, that,
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't think I did the oaths right, but Shania, I'm sure will forgive me. Okay, good job. Let's get to our third one here. Don't go grilling my steak. I wouldn't without fries. Should I sing it?
yep.
Don't go grilling my steak. I wouldn't without fries.
Don't go breaking my heart.
Yes.
I don't know who sings that. though.
Elton John in
Oh.
PED,
Okay.
Oh.
released in 1976.
Hilary, you're good at this
No
game.
kidding.
Okay, I just have two more. Dry read first. Hibachi. Flip it fast. Yummy. Stir fry.
I
That's
know
not
you're
enough.
not
No, you
referencing
don't.
Migos song.
No, it's not amigos.
Say it in the tune.
Oh, it's Chapel.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
Hibachi.
See, I would have gotten it. if
Flip
you would've
it
done that.
fast. Yummy. Stir fry.
You have to sing them.
I know.
You can't not sing them.
I-
My guess is Tilly Sage.
Okay. All right. Last one. You say reheat, baby. I say no. Griddle me a taco.
All right, you got to sing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
Oh, no.
you say reheat, baby. I say no. Griddle me a taco.
Oh, that's
Uh,
Sabrina.
Yeah, espresso.
Yes.
Oh, very nice.
All
You are good
right.
at that game.
That's Griddle the Lyrics. Thanks for playing. That's going to do it for us today. Cordero, thank you so much for walking us through your story and your recipes. I think we learned a ton, and I'm super inspired and very, very hungry now. So that's on you. I think you have to buy us lunch.
Make us one.
And make
Yeah,
us lunch.
That'd be more fun, wouldn't
There
it?
we go. There we go. I also want to thank my co-hosts Hilary and Becca, our producers Ann and Scott, and all our listeners. Thanks for liking and subscribing wherever you listen. But don't forget to send us your questions. We tackle all things home, from design to products and beyond. And you can send us your questions at nfm.com/podcast. Okay, bye for now. But remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hilary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.